Hi everyone, Darren Hunter here. Before we get into our podcast, just want to do a quick shout out for Inspection Manager. What an amazing inspection app platform that they have. And they're really excited at the moment with their tenant assisted routine inspections, where your tenants, in the convenience of their own time frame and in the convenience of their rental property, they can be getting you through the app inspections, their own inspection or their own photos that they've done. Now, this is going to help you, particularly if you're in lockdown. But what we've also found as businesses have come out of lockdown, they've found that perhaps they can do maybe one or even two of these inspections a year, aside from scheduling their normal routine inspections. The next step, really go and have a demo, have a look for yourself and make a decision where this could actually work for you too. So go to inspectionmanager.com, request a demo and check it out.
Hi, it's Deniz Yusuf here and I'm with Michael Sanz and we are Inspired Growth Training, and this is the podcast for the BDM Coach podcast show. Michael, awesome having you here again, buddy.
I know we're in different states, which is a change.
It is a change. I mean, it used to be such a common thing that we were in different states, but, you know, we've been in the same state traveling together since, I'm going to say March, right and through. Like it's been a good 6 months that we've been solidly together.
Well, it has been 6 months.
It's been a long 6 months for you, has it?
It's been long. I mean, we've shared many a car trip. Used to share many a plane flight, long plane flights. But we've, you know, driven from Queensland to Victoria and flown from Victoria to Perth and all this. It just doesn't seem surreal. Well, it is surreal that we've still been able to do some of the things that we love doing in today's climate.
You know, we've spent more time in a car together than what we have in an aeroplane. That's the complete opposite of what we're used to.
This year, yeah. I hope it doesn't become a norm.
So do I.
You know, we can't complain. We're quite fortunate at the moment that we've, you know, been in states that have allowed us to have some level of flexibility, and we just look forward to the rest of the country opening up. Because, you know, what we've seen over the last 18 months, like especially in real estate and property management, the landscape has changed so much, hasn't it? Like people have been doing listing presentations and trying to get new business all remote. You know, they're dealing with people through Zoom, they're dealing with them over the phone. Landlords have never even met before. And yeah, that's why this topic today is quite relevant, because, you know, this is something that people need to master in order to get the conversion they need. And essentially you're meeting people that you may not actually meet in person or on Zoom.
Yeah. Owners have got more time to do their homework now, right? They're stuck at home, just like you're working from home. They've got more time to do their homework. So it means you need to sharpen your closing skills and your ability to read through a presentation, because it's not as face-to-face anymore. You should be doing Zoom or Google Hangouts, or what's it called, Google Meet now, or Looms, or whatever you're doing. It's so much more important now to really fine-tune that close and prepare it. I mean, we've done a podcast previously on those steps to take to win that presentation. So make sure that one ties in really well. Preparing for that presentation, it prepares really well for this one here, because we're actually talking about the close, and you're not in the house. So Michael, we're giving 11 different examples of closes.
Yeah, I think too, just adding, we're going to talk about different types of closing. People close every single day. I mean, everything you do, from going to the supermarket, negotiating with your kids to go to bed or what they're going to have for dinner, dealing with new business, dealing with staff, employers, everything that you do, there's some form of close. And, you know, I love Boiler Room, always be closing. You know, it's something that we do. Not many people identify it, though, whilst they're doing it. I mean, your kids close you all the time when they're trying to get that extra bit of chocolate or that toy when they go to the supermarket or the shop, or your partner, they're trying to convince you to, go out for dinner and drinks or whatever it is that people in your life are trying to get you to do. You're closing, and you're being closed.
It's interesting because, like, all transactions of real estate is all about negotiating. Whether you're negotiating the tenant, I know that you're not feeling well or you might be sick, but we still have to do the routine, or you're negotiating with the tenant to pay the rent. So you're closing a deal for them to agree on terms, or you're closing that, no, they can't have 15 cars in the driveway, or they can't have all of their friends over and have parties every weekend, or you're negotiating with a tradesperson to get out there and get the job done quicker for you, or that photographer to get to go to that house. So closing is an essential part of life and real estate. Michael, it could be me saying, I really want to have some yum cha for lunch today, Michael. That's an easy close because you'll agree with me on that one.
That's a presumptive close.
Yeah, it is, and we're going to be talking about that one. I've just added one. This podcast is now the 12 different ways. I've added a close, and I'll finish with that one at the end. So we've got 12 different types of closes. So, it's exciting. Before we get into the closes, let's think about it. What are some, I used to be scared to ask for the business. I won't lie about it. It's a scary thing that when you're in a presentation and you've got to ask for the business because nobody likes rejection. Were
you scared, or you just didn't know how to close, right? Like, fear of rejection is one thing, but a lot of people, I guess, when they're going in for a listing presentation, they somewhat assume that they're there for a reason and that they don't know how to ask the question. They don't know how to read the room either. So, we're going to go through 11 or 12. They're not all going to work at the same time on the same person at the same place. Yeah. You've got to read the room and know which close to play.
That's right. So it's having all the ammunition ready and then knowing which type of close to use, which is a really good point because, if you've got an analytical person, you're not going to go for an emotional close, as an example, and as we go through these examples, everyone will understand that. It's a good point that you make. I didn't know how to ask. I mean, I was, here's the agreement, go to the house, go Sikkim Rex was the training I had, and I didn't know how to ask. I just, so you're right. And you do, and that adds to the fear factor of asking for the business because you don't know how.
But a lot of people aren't taught. It's like, you're in the business development role. And bear in mind too, Dennis, a lot of the BDMs we see, they're coming up through the PM rank and they're not used to asking for the business. They're used to just kind of being on an administrative level, doing the task that's there, going through, getting everything done. They've never really had to ask someone for the business. And when new business opportunities have come, it's normally been an owner saying, hey, Dennis, I've got this other property. Can you manage it for me?
Yeah. Yeah, spot on. And typically, a lot of the time when a PM is doing a fill-in role or it's just them doing it, those leads that they're being handed, they're hot leads. It's a second property or that the current owner's got, or it's their son's property. They're leads that the salesperson said, here, this person, I've just sold on my house, go sign them up, So they're already prepared. Whereas your typical BDM that's out there hunting and collecting, when you're pitching for the business, you're dealing with that transaction on a longer period of time. So, it's got that different effect.
Oh, it's always fun, dealing with closing. Now, let's go through, in order of the notes we've taken, the different type of closing. Now, I know we've touched on some, but let's go over them anyway, and we can reiterate and give some examples. Because that'd be the best way for people to.
Yeah, I think so. It'll give people a really good understanding. And as long as we're going through all of these, take your notes down, listen to this podcast over and over and over again. Because you've really got to grasp the different options. And, the first one is a visual or an emotional close. It's really getting into the emotion of the person, the reasoning why that they've got you in there in the first place, and using that emotion to your advantage as well, and visualizing it. It's kind of like a little bit like another podcast that we've already done, Michael, and we did cover using when you're doing a submission, to get the property, and you're visualizing with them through it. You might say, imagine if we managed your property and we helped you earn an extra ABC of money, or so it's using that emotion. And it's really good a lot of the time when you have a reluctant owner. This one can work really well because it's their home. So use words like, we'll look after your home, or we'll make sure we've got this type of videography or marketing so we attract the best quality tenant. Imagine if we put a tenant into your property and they were long term, so that you didn't have to worry about your property sitting vacant. So you're using that, those painting the pictures, but you're also using examples of what you've done throughout that time. So it's giving them the visual of it.
So you don't mean the visualization of the person on their way to the listing presentation, visualizing, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this listing. No, we're not talking about that.
No, but it could be an idea for another podcast, Michael, like 10 things to do before a presentation to hype yourself up.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I guess too, you got to also think about the mindset of the person that you're trying to close, because as you know, there's going to be a number of reasons why they don't want to do business with you, or why they're trying to back out. It could be that they want to speak with others. They still have 10 more agents they want to speak with. Their partner's not here at the moment. You're too expensive. The other person's doing more. Whatever the reason. One of the closes that I've used before, I think many people have used it before, is try them before you buy, basically.
Yep.
Where they might be a first-time investor and they're really not sure. And we would always say, look, we have a 12-month agreement. However, I'm not going to hold you to that if you're not happy.
Yeah, right? Good idea.
If at any time you're not happy with anything that's happened, or communication or whatever, just make sure you let us know so we can try and resolve it. But I'm not going to hold you to it. So give us a go. And tell you what, at 3 months, if you're not happy and you don't want to keep your property with us, that's fine. We'll package up the file for you and we'll hand deliver it to the agency that you want to go with.
Yeah, so that's really good. And that's similar to the converting the private owners, where, or not necessarily a private owner, it's where you might be doing a lease or a let only. And instead of just handing the files over, you may manage it for a period of time on their behalf. So they get to try and buy. And we've done a podcast on how to convert private owners to full-time management, so you'd be able to understand that try before you buy period as well. Great example of being able to, some states and some countries, they lock clients in for 1 or 2 year contracts.
They do, yeah.
As example, Western Australia, South Australia, Northern Territory, the people can be locked into a contract. So you could actually have we won't lock you in for that 1 or 2 years. We'll just have an open agreement, and after 3 months we can rediscuss it. So that's a good idea. Michael, the assumptive close, number 3, the assumption or the assumptive close. It's basically when you're going in and you're assuming that you're going to get that closed straight away, or you've gone through your presentation and you might say, so Michael, it was great being able to showcase our services of what we've got here. What day is best that I can arrange the photographer to come around next week? What day next week is best? And what I'll do is and the next day I'll get the for lease sign put out the front for you, and or what day will you be getting the lawns done next, and I'll get the photographer out that day. So that's the assumptive close as well.
I guess too, from everyone taking notes on this podcast, when you are going to close, you're not locked in to the one close you've just tried. Like Deniz, you've just spoken about the assumptive close. You go through it, you think everything's going great. What date do you want the photos? Whoa, hang on. We're not ready yet. We're not having the price, or whatever it is. That's okay. You change the close. but ask those other pre-qualifying questions. Dennis, if we took price off the table, and it was between me and the other agent, who would you be more likely to go with? And if they say you, then you go down that other closing path, right? There's different iterations of it, but just know that one no to a close doesn't mean that that's it. You walk away. There are so many different versions of it.
And you can potentially use 3 or 4 in the one presentation, right? You could, the assumptive close where you assume you're going for the assumption that you're getting the business and you're asking when the photographer can come around. That could actually then move into the next one. They might be going, oh, but, and that can move into like the offer close or the urgency and offer close, which is, I understand that you've got, your uncle listed a property and is away at the moment and you wanted to know what he did. Well, if you sign with us today, we can, whatever the thing is, whatever you've got on offer, or you will go in the draw. If there could be a monthly special, because it's the first today, I can still give you that offer we had last month, but I can only do it today. So that's a segue into your next close. So that's just an example, as we've covered, the urgency of offer. So your franchise group or your office may have an offer to win a holiday. Sometimes or a car, or depends what's on offer, or you might be doing a list with us for the month off and receive free photography.
I just got done with the urgency close on the heat pump, right? Like I was trying to negotiate on heat pumps. I was calling up numerous people, but they're all saying the same thing. Look, these are the prices at the moment. And if you don't do it now, next month, the prices are going to go up 20%. Costs on parts, coming in from overseas. They're not coming in. We're having to manufacture everything now in Australia. The cost is going up. So it's up to you, Michael. You can either get it now at this price, or you can wait until next month when you really want it and you pay 20% more. And,
they use your own tactic on you. Don't you hate that?
Doesn't make me happy. But, it's done now.
Yeah, that's gold. And that type of a close, it works. All of these closes are examples that they do work, but that urgency and that offer, you do have to be careful with it, because sometimes people, they've got more time, they're not in a rush. And Australians especially, they don't like that hard sell close. And we're going to talk about that one in a little bit. Now, the empathy close, here's another one. This one is especially good when, business may have been referred across, or they've had an issue. Actually, if they've had an issue with a previous client, this one works well. Michael, it could be, your property. You had issues with your current client, with your current management, where they may have went and ordered maintenance on a property that you didn't approve, or you weren't happy with who they used, or whatever the case is. So that's where you sit alongside them and you're being empathetic with them. Look, we're sorry to hear that, those were the decisions that the current agent went through. What we have in place, or what we could do for you is, and then you talk about a service or something that you've got in place that you'll do for them if they sign with you. And again, if you sign with us today, I can add this component to you. So there's 2 closes together that you could use. It's really being empathetic with the clients, coming alongside them and ensuring that you've got processes in place that meet their requirements.
Yeah, and I would love to hear back from everyone listening or watching the podcast. What are the closes that work for you, right? Like, share them with us. Do a post, tag Dennis and myself, let us know what close they're using. We would love to hear. And if there are other ones that we're not raising today, share them, right? Yeah. We want to hear them.
Yeah, great idea, Michael. I think that, they could put them in the group. I'd love to hear some of their closes via video as well. If they're game, go to Inspired Growth Training Facebook page, just simply request, like the page, follow the page. And you'll see a little button that says join group. If you can't see it, click on the community and you'll see that there's a group assigned to it. Please ensure you answer the question, so admin know to let you in that you are working in real estate. Only today I removed 2 people that tried joining the group because, and they were actually sponsors trying to get in and sell their services. So make sure you answer the questions so we know that you're you are in real estate. And yeah, let us know. Hey guys, I watched your podcast on the 12 ways to close, and here's an example that works well for me. And let's create a bit of a storm on that. That's really good. So number 6.
The next one. So this is around that trending clothes. So I guess it's cool to do business with Deniz, so I'm going to sign up with Deniz. Everyone else is doing it, so I'm going to do it. Right? Yeah. I guess they may have read your reviews, that they see that they know you now, they like you, they trust you. But it's trending. It's cool. I'm with that.
That's right. Like everyone else is signing, with you, especially, Michael, you referred, Darren Hunter to use my services, and Darren is feeling a little bit, I'm not sure. Well, as you know, Michael referred your business to us. This is what the package that he signed up on, and you obviously called us because you felt his emotion. He's obviously means a lot to you, and that's why he's recommended your services to us. So if you sign with us today, we can actually put you on that same package as him. I've just used 3 closes in one there.
But would you say, using Darren as an example, because everyone knows Darren Hunter, would you say he's likely to do business because he's trending?
No.
Someone's trending? Or do you think he's likely to do business because he's analytical?
Now, for anyone watching, I've got 7 up. I'm holding 7 fingers up because I knew where Michael was going there. Darren is certainly the analytical one, and he's also number 8. So remember that Darren Hunter is 7 and 8. He certainly is the analytical one, It's interesting because when Darren, he is an absolute machine when it comes to the marketing of our company, and he will put a lot of posts up, like marketing, advertising posts, and he looks at every single statistic. He looks at the clicks, he looks at the open rates, this, that, and the other, and he's very analytical and understands the best decision that can be made for our business. And that's why we get so much reward with our marketing. And there's a lot of people like him when they're looking at property management. Michael, I remember a presentation I carried out for a lady, and she wanted to have a meeting with me. And she sat down with me at the office, and she had integrity real estate fees and everything it covered, and she had the rival agency and everything it covered. She had the average rent between the two. We were like $10 difference, so she based it in the middle. And she showed it. She said, and she sat me down and said, okay, so how do we get you? I like you, you're better, but how do we get you at this price over here? She was analytical. I was impressed what she did.
Yeah. And what happened?
So I then pointed out the points of differences, which is the analytical close. So we understand that these are the fee structures of them all. And then I didn't have the visual, but what you can do is you could actually have tick boxes. Videography, professional photography, the number of routines, etc. You could have all your points of differences in there, and you could have a tick box going across of what you cover and what your rivals do. So that's how I overcame that one. But that's your analytical one. Darren, I totally understand that, you want to look at all the different options. If I can show you the value and that we are cheaper to use than the rival agencies, based on all the different points that we've got here, and I could show you the ticks. If we've got more ticks than everyone else, would you be happy to sign with us today? It's actually going through that motion, and that's that analytical. My biggest struggle was school teachers, and they were the ones that you had to be analytical with.
The irony there is you struggled with them during school and you struggle with them after school.
Nothing's changed.
It's the same with like the next one, which was the statistical close. Because I've got a tongue twister today. Where you've got your proof statement, so you're analytical and you got your stats. Where you've got your reports, you've got your average rents. You can actually show people. A lot of agencies, as you know, they'll say, "Oh, market rent, $500 a week, for a 2-bed, 1 bath." But that's fine saying it, but when you show it to someone, because I might say 500, you say 550. Well, I can say, look, Darren, here is all the properties like for yours, 500 a week. Where is this 550 coming from?
Yeah, it's easy for an agency to go out there and say we can get more rent than the rivals, but it's showing the statistics that you are renting properties at a particular price, and here's the days on market, and that's backing it up with those proof statements that add so much more value.
The next clause, I think a lot of people use day in, day out, and not necessarily just for business, but for many things in life. It's the guilt clause, the almost like that puppy dog clause, like when they say, oh, look, we think we're going to go with our friends, they're just starting out their business and they want some support. I mean, that's just gutting when they say, Deniz, I know we've been with you for 5 years now, and that's been fantastic, and we've loved it. But our friend, John Smith up the road, he's going to start up a new agency, and he would love our support, so we're going to give him the property. Now comes those puppy dog eyes. It's like, what? After 5 years together? And then you lump it on. 5 years together. A busted water heater. One tenant that entire time, consistent rent increases, and you go through it, and it's like, and yet you want to leave for the uncertain.
Yeah, that's pulling out that's kind of pulling out the emotion as well, right? The emotional puppy dog. It's like a merge of the two, isn't it?
Deniz, I'll tell you what. Why don't you let your friend open their agency and run with it for 12 months and just see how they're going? And whilst they're doing that, you'll still get the same dedicated service you've been getting for the last 5 years, right? Because I don't want to see this come to an end. And your friend will know that you don't want to upset something that's working really well for something of the unknown.
And you don't want your property being the first property going through being the what do you call it, the beta test.
Yeah, and on the other side, the agent's going, you'll be number one. You're going to get full dedication and care and attentiveness from me. I will be there for you. And, whenever you need to call me, I'm going to be able to answer the phone. So they're using the guilt on the other side to get the listing because they've got no track record typically. So you just got to work out who guilt's better. Yeah,
you've given two different examples of the guilt clause there, which is really cool. Number 10 is a good one. It's just do it, right? It's the just do it clause. It's straight to the point where, you're sitting down and you've gone through and you can just say straight to the client, this is a bold attack. You've just got to go straight for it. You've gone through everything. And it's not a matter of just sitting down and then saying, let's go through the agreement. We'll do this, this, and this. It's just going, okay, Michael, so the next step for you to do is just sign here. And wait for the silence, wait for, what are they going to do? They're either going to have something back at you, they're going to ask a question, or they're going to sign.
And that works well when you've got like a good proposal too, right? Where you're saying, Deniz, this is where you sign. As you can see, the pricing is only available for another 24 hours. After that point, we'll have to reset our pricing with you. But here you go, sign this and we'll get started right away.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yep. Sure. Yep. I'll do it.
Yeah. Well done.
I'll sign.
It's going. You'll sign. Well, you did, right? You got the heat pump. As Michael is shaking his head, but he's happy, right? Because his swimming pool's going to have some heating in it now.
Oh, I will be happy when I can swim in the warm water of my pool.
I'll have to come and test that out too. Now we've got the reverse effect clause. This is where you may have an owner that they're still not quite sold. You haven't kind of cracked them yet, and they might even they might be using the tactic of but the other agent offered it cheaper down the road. You've tried your amazing examples of how to overcome those fee objections. You've tried the old look. We understand. We know what other agencies are charging in the area. And we know that they're offering their fees in accordance to their level of service. But what we can do for you, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, is, I know that you were really happy with us being the agency that offers 360 virtual tours, what we can do is we can actually take the 360 virtual tours out, which is then equivalent to you paying the same amount as what you would for using Michael's services down the road. It does mean your property will sit a little bit longer on the market. It will take longer for us to find you a good quality tenant, but in the end, you'll be paying the same fees as the rival agent. What tends to happen in this particular close? Oh, no, but I want that videography. I want that 360 tours that your business is offering. All of a sudden, they're now fighting for you to sign them up. So it has a reverse effect where you're offering, you're going to take a service away that they really like, but then they're going, no, but I want, okay, well, let's just proceed, shall we? Because you're then using your proof statements. Again, you're dropping in there that you're showing them that their property will sit longer on the market for less money in their pocket straight away. But if it's about that fee, you're using that reverse effect that they want the videos, which is really cool. Number 12, this is the one that I added. I'm going to call it the Deniz close.
Oh, here we go.
It's the question close. Let's call it the question close, right? So typically,
why won't you sign with me?
Yeah, well, not quite will you sign with me. Look, most of the time, if somebody's not going to sign with you, it means that you actually haven't sold your services correctly. There's something that they haven't overcome. And we've done podcasts previously about setting those clients up for the win. You should be asking certain questions to them. For example, what's your biggest concern about renting out your home, Mr. and Mrs. Smith? And these are questions that you can be asking when you're booking the appointment before you're at the property. So you should already know what their objections are going to be. Now, during a presentation, someone might, Michael, what's a typical question that somebody might ask you during a presentation? As you could be walking around the house, or you've just, gone through, answered some questions. What's another question that might come up?
How long will it take to rent this house out?
Michael, that's a really good question. What I'll do is let's sit down, and I want to make sure that I explain this in full detail, because that comes back to the different type of marketing. I know I've sent you some examples, but let's sit down. We're going to go through the authorization form, and I'm going to explain everything in detail. And when we get to the marketing component and the vacancy of the property, I'll ensure that we cover that correctly.
Perfect.
I've just set you down for the close. Another question that might come up. What's another question?
Is this what you kind of say, Michael, let's go in here. You go buy the drink and I'll go sit down over there, and then we can look at the menu.
That's a perfect example. That's what I do. I Michael, you can choose whatever you like to eat. How about you go up there and order it, and I'll just, I'll lower my standards for you and you can eat. It's simply just asking questions. Like, have you got any other questions? They're going to ask a question. And it could be, okay, so what did you say your fees were again? Great question, Michael. Let's sit down and I'll go through the entire fee structure for you. And you're sitting them down. You're going for your agreement, everyone. So it's the question close. Any question that an owner has got for you should be able to be answered within your form, within your agency agreement. They're all there. So it's a great way to close. And again, when you go for those close, if you're asking what the fees, that they might be asking about the fees. So then it comes into, let's sit down, and then you move into the statistical close or the analytical close. If they're worried about the marketing, it could be, okay, you got to go for that empathy close because they're worried about their property sitting vacant because it's their home, whatever it is, you adapt it to your situation, like you said earlier.
Yeah, 100%. And we need to also remember that people typically want to do business with the person that they're talking with. And if they don't do business with you, you haven't sold them. You haven't explained clearly the value add that you're going to provide these clients.
Yeah.
And when they say to you, hey, Deniz, I really want to go with you, but the pricing of these other guys, I love that. And that's where you say, well, I can take away, which services would you like me to take away so that I can match their pricing? Oh, no. I don't want that. I want everything you're doing, but at their price. It's like, well, why don't you go ask them to do everything I'm doing at that price?
Yeah, that's another way. That's another reverse effect there. That's good. Yeah. Michael, people don't just call anyone to come into a house. They've already got you in their home for a reason. You're already trusted. You're already trusted. Your job is to gain trust of the client at the property and go for the close. We've just given 12 amazing examples, different ways of people to be able to close for the business. So remember, trust has already occurred. They're not just going to pull you into a home if they don't trust you. That there's already that ability of that they've got that faith in your services. They've checked the Google reviews. They've checked you on social media. And if they haven't, make sure you throw them at all of that information at them before you get to the property.
Yeah. So again, I would love to hear back from people, some of the successful closers, closing stories that you've had. Share them with us. If you send it privately, to us, we can share them anonymously with the group. But we would love to kind of show other people how you are doing it.
Yeah.
So make sure you reach out to us. Deniz, a great session today. There's so many closing opportunities there, and the people really need to dig deep on and research. But we won't tell everyone what the next topic is going to be yet. We'll keep that under wrap. That'll be a surprise.
You will.
But, great topic, Deniz. Thanks for being here today. Well, not here. Thanks for being in where you are today.
It's been great. Always great banter with you, Michael, as well. The BDM Coach podcast show wouldn't be the same without our banter buddy. So awesome to have you on board. If anyone wants to reach out to us, Google our names, find us on Facebook, email us as well. All of our details are everywhere to see. You can even find us on TikTok. Thanks everyone for being part of the BDM Coach podcast show. Hey, Darren has just dropped this amazing book in front of me. If you would like, the analytical one has just shot past. If anyone here would like my free book that I've written, the PM Lead Secrets book, this thing is absolutely on fire. I put my heart and soul into this book. It is free. All you have to do is pay for the shipping. Depending on what country you are from, it obviously does vary a little bit. In Australia, it's $9.97 or something like that. It is crazy cheap. Just go to pmleadsecrets.com and you will be able to order this. I will sign a copy for you if you, order your book today. What does that mean? Can't say that because we're not going to. They could order this in 6 years' time. Mike.
Well, you'll just have to have a book then to send out. Order more.
What I'll have to do is I'll have to visit their office and sign it. It's a great book. I put my heart and soul into this one. Some really good scripts and dialogues from Michael that I've thrown in there, Darren as well, and some of the best BDMs going around the world as well. So pmleadsecret.com, pmleadsecrets.com.
Great. Thanks, Deniz.
Thank you, everyone.